Good morning. I'm Bob Hoey. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. Sitting next to me, Bob Cox, the leader down here at the Bridge Club. Well, that's how I feel about you, buddy. You're doing a great job. Great job. No, you just, what can I say? The bridge is something special to me, and I wish you all the luck in the world. One of your buddies, Bob McGuire's the one that got me going. I went down a couple of weeks ago. You went there. I was looking for you. Dave Nagel was right at the front door. Mm-hmm. I had about 8 to 10 pair of pretty nice slacks and jeans, and Scott Alexander took them in. You know, I just said, just to say hello. Then I go to the Wish Project. So I have you in mind, especially when it comes to men like my size, 38 waist, 36s. And I donated a few articles of clothing for you, but
I appreciate that. I mean,
oh yeah,
you just touched on a great organization in the city, is the Wish Project.
Oh yeah, I give them a lot of the
project, yeah.
female stuff. But I remember you saying a lot of these men that they come out of, let's say, jail, and they don't have anything. They got to go to court. So I made sure I threw some real quality stuff at you guys, and it's just a great idea. And like I said, a good friend of yours, Bob McGuire,
yep,
again, I'll say his name, he's the one that basically, him and Rita Mercier, I had a funny story about Rita Mercier, Bob, and this is going back a while ago in front of your place. Some woman was walking by, and I'm on an electric bike, and I stopped, and it was an election year, like coming up now, and she stopped. I said, "Hi, how are you?" I'm Bob Hoey, running for the school committee, whatever it was. I forget if it was city council or the school committee. And she goes, "Oh yeah, do you know Rita Mercier?" I goes, "Oh yeah, I know Rita. Why, you want to meet her? I can get Rita anytime you want," because I seen her right behind this woman, like 25 yards away. And then I yelled out, "Rita, come over here, meet this lady." But it's just a long story, and Rita was a big part to me why I go around, and I want to do whatever I can for you. And Tom, I can't speak enough about Salvation Army and Paul Belay and Warren Shaw out there and Dracut. I had to leave early. I couldn't make the whole night. I think I caught about 5 bands. I probably had about 7. And it was an amazing show. Oh my God, it was great. A guy named Devin, I don't know if you know him.
He owns the place.
He does? I'm not sure about that yet.
I thought that's what Paul told me.
But when I was younger, there was 2 bands I always wanted to follow, and one was Last Laugh, and he was the lead singer of that band. And we had our own band in Lowell. A lot of bands in Lowell. My brother plays the guitar, but Tom, it's a giving. No, Bob, it's almost the same thing as Salvation Army. You're giving help to people that really need it bad, and Salvation Army's doing the same thing. And this is a great time of the year, Tom. It's my favorite time.
Oh, yeah, same here. Right, I was out ringing the bell last Friday. I usually the first few days of ringing the bell, it's slow. Man, the money was going in that kettle. It was really, I think the economy's getting better, and but yeah, I was usually the first couple of days of ringing the bell. Like next week, I'm ringing tomorrow, then I'll ring Thanksgiving Eve, and man, that fills the kettle right up because people are shopping.
It's funny because you mentioned the Salvation Army, and it's obviously a great organization, world renowned, and they've done so much behind the scenes, touched so many people behind the scenes.
I hear about it when I ring the bell. People you don't even, people you and I know, he knows that were helped by them that are doing pretty good now. They didn't forget it either. You know.
Right. Well, a story that really touched my heart. I was on the committee with Warren for the.
I remember, yeah.
For the Radiothon for I don't know how many years, probably 10 years. So I was involved with the Salvation Army fundraising and all that stuff. I never knew the story when my mother passed away in 2015. I don't know how I never heard it, but my older sister Colleen, who just passed away in January, told us a story about when before my mother and father were married. And this is during World War II. My father was overseas, and he had traveled throughout Europe, and he was over, at this point, we were over in Northern Africa. And my mother lost track of him. And, back then, they didn't have cell phones. There was no communication like there are now, right? So, of course, she's in a panic thinking the worst, right? The Army couldn't find him either. They could not locate my father, right? So my uncle, Father McCarran, at the time was up in Brattleboro, Vermont. Excuse me, no. He was, I don't know where he was at the time, but he reached out to a contact he had at the Salvation Army. And the Salvation Army located my father in a field hospital in northern Africa.
Jeepers.
And like, my mother was in a panic for like a month. They could not find him. And he was in a field hospital in northern Africa. But I never heard that story until after my mother passed.
Yeah.
So I've,
There's a story, every time I ring the bell, somebody will come up to me and, they did this for them, they did that, there was a fire. Jimmy Gookin used to always say that Salvation Army gave you free coffee and donuts, the Red Cross charged you. I remember Jimmy telling me that story.
Typical Gookin.
But it's just, you hear the stories all the time, and people just give, and again, well-to-do people were helped by them too. You know what I mean? They were poor and destitute. Now they're doing okay, and they give back now. It's.
We could probably all say, Tom, if you look at Salvation Army, I think it was approximate numbers, about 250, $250,000 last year. And then I had a few just this weekend. Like I said, I went out to the boat in Dracut for that. Paul Belay runs it every year. It's unbelievable. It's getting bigger and bigger too, by the way. But in Lowell, and we can all have a story, I bet, but Kilkenny's Pub, we bring in, I didn't know he was doing this until this year, and I know Dickie Barrett pretty well, but collecting, food for charities, the Catholic charities, then raising money by selling turkey raffles, to give that money to the Santa Fund, something Pangy does. And I think Pangy's party's coming up in December 6th. Don't hold me. John will show you pretty soon.
2 weeks from Friday.
Yeah, but I missed last year's, and I made sure I put it up there. I won't miss this year, because those are the type of things, when you have something, when I run for school committee, let's say, Pangy's always been good to me. And they send you a check, for whatever amount, and you gotta help people like that. They're out to help me. I'm gonna help them as much as I can,
Right.
But getting back to you, Bob, what's hot right now with the bridge? What's going on?
Well, actually, I want to segue off of what you just said about the turkey raffles. I was at the Salvation Army breakfast when they were ordering Ray Booton.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to Artie Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me that they were talking about, the wonderful work, as we are talking about right now, the Salvation Army does as a regular basis. The things that people think are a big deal, they do every day, day in and day out. And it dawned on me, we have, last year and this year, we've given away 25 turkey dinners for Thanksgiving. And last year, we had a few extras, and we called the Boys and Girls Club, and Joe Hungler was able to put them in the hands of 5 needy families at the last minute. And I said to Artie, how about the Salvation Army? Could they use some of that? So we've been trying to get in contact with the Salvation Army. That's why I reached out to you last week, Tom.
Did you get in touch with them?
I left a message for them. I've yet to talk to them, but
Yeah, they're great people.
But
Yeah.
if anyone's listening, there's a family out there that is in need of a full turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. Please contact the Bridge Club. We have a few left. Be happy to get them in the hands of the people who could.
Are those the
use them.
ones you sent out the message to us about donating?
Yes, it's coming.
Okay.
We buy them directly from Market Basket. They're cooked. It's soup to nuts. It's everything really. It's
It's the ones they, yeah.
all the fixings, the pie, the rolls, and everything. So it's enough to feed, I think, a family of at least 4, I believe. But nonetheless, it's free, and we like to get them out to the people who really
Sure.
need them. So
Sure.
please take advantage of that. But anyway, the biggest thing that we've got coming up, Bob, we've got a lot of stuff going on, but the biggest thing coming up for us is our next coming fundraiser, which is in January, which is the Boston Bruins alumni play. This year, they're playing the Lowell Police Department hockey team. This is something that's come into us as an annual fundraising event, brought to us by one of our board members, Derek Sanderson, former Boston Bruins great. But the alumni comes up and skates at the Songus Arena against a municipal team. It's been a municipal team up to this point. The first year, this is our 4th year, believe it or not, but the first year was the Lowell Police Department. The second year, the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department came and played. Last year, the Lowell Fire Department played. So this year, we're back to the police, and the goal 3 years ago, we set it up for exactly that. Every 3 years, it'll be a cycle. So we've got the Songus Arena prearranged for the Sunday of Martin Luther King weekend going forward, every year going forward, as well as the Bruins' schedule is already on their schedule as they start their New Year's schedule. So that's something we can look forward to every day. And the interesting part of this, we kind of keyed into it on year 2, was the timing being what it is, it makes for a great Christmas gift. because, it's good hockey. This is professional hockey, really, basically. And some of these guys, some of these names that have been coming up here, back from some of the names when we were all growing up, and,
Yeah.
and recent stars. I mean, last year, this gentleman was walking along, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, who is this guy? Of course, they're all wearing equipment, that you generally can't recognize the face, but not back in the day. Back in the day, you could see, they weren't wearing helmets and masks. And I see this guy, I'm like, this guy looks awful familiar. And lo and behold, it was Rick Smith.
Oh, gee, yeah.
And, and it's funny because he's really close with Derek, and Derek wasn't there. So I said, I didn't know who he was until he turned around. His name was on his jersey. So I said, hey, Rick, and he turns around, yeah, how can I help you? I said, friend of Derek Sanderson's, he speaks about you high. Oh my God, Derek, I'm going to see him next week. And those old timers stay close to each other. They're a very close knit group. But nonetheless, the Bruins have been a godsend for us, and it's a good feel-good thing for not only the Bridge Club but the community, the municipality that plays. Generally, they have a family skate on the Songus before the event, which brings the families, the kids, and everything out onto the ice. We have the Lowell Youth Hawks that come and now have a component of the game. They do like a little mini one-on-one during the intermission. It's a big deal for the kids. All the kids' names get announced by John Horgan, the Bruins announcer. So it's a big deal, and we look forward to it every year.
Lowell's actually, to me, a very big hockey town. Anyways, all my friends play hockey. I never could. I was always the goalie. I couldn't hockey skate. I had to use figure skates, so I was almost laughed off the ice. It just wasn't my sport. But we played a lot on the rivers and the brooks when they froze up as kids, and we all thought we were Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito, right, or Pi McKenzie. You know how hockey was.
Yep.
So I think you're going to draw a good crowd. You said 4 years.
This will be the fourth year, yeah.
Did you? I know that this might sound funny to you, but have you ever played ULO hockey team?
No, actually, it's funny because when we first spoke to the Bruins alumni representative, she said, we try not to put the guys up against semi-pro teams. Like these guys, some of these guys. I mean, Reggie Lemlin was on the ice last year.
Oh wow!
I mean, he's skated all 3 years so far. Reggie Lemlin. I mean, he's got to be 80, all of 80, because Derek's 78.
Yeah.
Derek and Rick Smith are 78. Lemlin's got to be a few years older than that. But he's still out there skating. He's not playing goal anymore, but he's out
Right.
playing a shift. But, it's amazing. So they don't want to get hurt, obviously. And these guys, believe it or not, these guys have a really charitable goal behind what they do. It's not just a bunch of guys getting together. This year they have 37 games on their schedule, I was told last week. They try to keep it around 30, but they skate all over the state, and sometimes all over New England. I know last year, we had to kick our game back to later in the day at 4 o'clock because it was on a Sunday and they were skating out in North Adams or something, on a Saturday night game. So they asked us to move it from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, just because they were traveling. But, it's a fun group. And what's interesting this year is we've got a sponsor that really came out of nowhere and jumped on board to help us. Not necessarily for this particular event, but it's Primo's Pizza of Dracut. Great people. And
Very nice people.
the Georgiana, who was Chris and Georgiana Kostelakis own it, Costa Ricas rather. And Georgiana's brother passed away due to a drug overdose. So she's got a real empathetic eye view of this whole program. And they stepped up in October. Every October, they run a fundraiser for addiction. Now, 3 years ago, they approached us and they wanted to do it for the Bridge Club. So what they do, believe it or not, is they donate $1 from every pizza they sell for the entire month of October to whatever charity they pick. They've adopted us as their permanent October charity at this stage of the game. So, last year they stepped up and they gave us a check for $5,700.
Holy cow!
$5,700.
It's a lot of pizza.
Well, I joke, that's a lot of dough, right? But
Yeah.
and it really is. But now they've gotten creative with it. They ask people, do you want to round up your order for the Bridge Club? Quite honestly, I hate when people do that, but nonetheless, they've been successful with it. And so this year, I was told last week that they are above what their goal was this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that check is. So last year, having the knowledge that they presented us with that check, we made them the presenting sponsor for the Bruins game. And we're going to carry that forward each and every year. What they're going to do their gesture in October as much of it makes a great impact on us and our fundraising efforts throughout the year. So we're going to reciprocate by making them the presenting sponsor. This year, interestingly enough, is they've expanded. Primos has expanded and doubled the size of the restaurant and added a lounge area. So they've now got a bar and they're serving food
I haven't
in the
seen
bar.
it yet, but I heard about it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
My wife had it.
So you go there, have a
last
drink,
week.
and
It's not open yet,
Not
but
open
it
yet,
will
yeah.
be open for this game. So
Wow.
we're going to have the event after
Cool.
the event. All the Bruins will be coming back to Primo's Pizza for that event. So the Bruins love it. They get to come together. There'll be a free buffet for them, and it's going to be a good day.
I remember when Primos had the little hole in the wall place.
Oh, my God, I
down the
remember
road,
that too.
And then they moved over, they built
Yep.
their own place, and now, wow, this is great. It's,
And you know what, Chris, to his
and the
credit,
food's great.
you know, like any business owner that owns his own business, John, you can attest to this. You work 100 hours a week and it doesn't feel like work. I can attest to the fact Chris was in that store by himself, that little store on the corner of Hampson
Yeah.
and Parker, and he'd be there every single day from open to close, and he built it into what it is now. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I think John McDonough only works about 90 hours a week. He doesn't do 100.
Slacking,
He's
huh?
cut back.
He's close.
Slacking a
He's
little bit.
close. But, Bob, lately we've been fighting a lot in the city over the homeless at South Common.
Will you,
Go ahead.
tell the audience where Ned is tonight?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Ned Tarmey called me up this morning. I usually pick him up if I can, to bring him into the show, and he just wasn't feeling that good, so he's going back up north. So good luck to you, Ned. When you get home, give us a call. Make sure you feel
It
better.
was your great spirits last night. I had no mic, but
Yeah, well, again, getting back to the homeless problem that the city is facing over at the South Common, trying to clean the place up a little bit. I see it coming, but it's going to be a slow process. But I always said it was, the biggest part is in Lowell, in my opinion, being a cab driver, an ex-prison guard, I think I know the city pretty well. Drugs are a real big issue. Alcohol might be right behind it. But let me tell you something. Personally, in my life, gambling. I got some friends that gambled a lot of money away. And I think I can say this about my family. I think we'd all be millionaires if we didn't gamble.
To the bus.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then I see my friend Dave Nagel down at your place as soon as I walked in. That's the first door on the right. And I've just felt the pain. My wife just finally got a hold of me, and I don't gamble. So it's a big issue, too. And so isn't divorce. Puts people on the streets. There's so many things that put them on the streets, it's crazy.
A big thing you're missing is mental health.
Mental health is all of them, really,
Yeah,
when you
it
think
really
about
is.
it, right?
It really
But
is.
my point is, if we just keep saying mental health, right, that's definitely not a local issue. That's the state. You got to open up these hospitals, Danvers, Tewksbury, all of them that were open at one time, Bridgewater. I mean, they got rid of them all. I'm telling you, as a prison guard, that's all I can speak for. When I had to deal with someone with mental health, I couldn't do it. They have a sense, like I just couldn't deal with, I don't know what it was. An inmate that robs banks and kills people, I was very good at. But people that needed mental health and not a prison, there's so many of them, it's terrible. I would say up to halfwards, Tom, half of the prison system is people that really need a hospital, how's that? And we got a lot of bad people, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them need a hospital. Tewksbury State alone, and Danvers State Hospital, to me, you talk about jewels, but they closed Danvers, really, and they took, I don't know, this all probably 30 years ago this all happened. Could be longer that they started to rip down mental health, Bob. That's why places like you are, a diamond in the rough, let me put it that way.
Well, you look at Tewksbury, and Tewksbury State Hospitals, everybody looks at that, including
Hey, Bobby,
local charities.
slide his mic towards Bob, will you?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, including the local charities like the Bridge Club. We look at Tewksbury State Hospital as a potential outlet. I've spoken to the District Attorney Marion Ryan about trying to open up some kind of behavioral health supported housing in some of these uninhabited buildings on Tewksbury State Hospital. The problem is, as you can see in the news right now, the Tewksbury residents are getting sick of it. And part of this is caused by the population explosion, right? I mean, Tewksbury, I don't know what the population in Tewksbury is, but I'm sure it's a heck of a lot more than it was 30 years ago. Just like Dracut, just like
Right,
any other
right,
municipality.
right.
So you run out of room to put these people. Now, you could stick them all in Tewksbury, but you know what? That puts all the problems under the purview of the police chief in Tewksbury, who's really voicing his opposition to these expansions within Tewksbury State Hospital. So what's the answer? You know, cleaning up the homelessness in Lowell is a great idea. Where are you going to put them? You know, they're trying to solve the problem without a solution before they're going into action without a solution for the problem. It happened in Mass and Cass. Michelle Wu cleaned up Mass and Cass. It looked beautiful for like 3 months. And guess what? Everybody started to filter back in there. Part of it goes to you just can't control what people do. I mean, case in point, I know Karen Frederick and I had several conversations about, you know, God rest his soul, Shannon Lally,
Yeah.
who used to live outside his whole life, pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he used to, you know, be hanging
Yeah,
outside
it's
the
the
shrine.
shrine. We see that,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure, it's outside the
They
shrine.
still, you
So-
see, ever see the little candles they have?
Yeah, the little
where
memorial
it's
they
at.
have for
Yeah,
him.
Yeah.
But, you know, but it's a great case in point. I personally have asked Shannon, I can get you inside. Karen Frederick has told me over the years, you know, decade maybe or more, you know, approaching him with coffee and saying, Shannon, you know, let me help you get inside. Doesn't want to go inside. And you know what? And short of locking someone up, there's nothing you can do about that.
You know,
It's sad.
Bob, I had gambling in my blood, but I'll never forget my grandfather that I lived with, born in 1902. He'd have a bottle of ginger brandy hidden when he had a cold. He'd tell me, this is what I drink when I have a cold. And over here, he had another bottle of blackberry brandy. This is to bind you up. And I say, to this day, well, to this day,
I've heard those stories.
yeah, Tom, and I'm telling you, to this
French
day,
still do that.
I think alcohol still is ahead of drugs for our problem. Alcohol is a big, big issue. But in Lowell, drug dealers, the way the police busted them that last time, that's what you have to do. You have to go after the dealers because they're coming into Lowell from like Lawrence, Boston, wherever, and the cops can get them. The cops know that. But the court's got to do a little bit more too.
They got to.
Yeah, they have to.
You know, I lived a quarter of a mile from here. Johnny and I lived up in the same area, and we used to have what they call, unfortunately, winos back in the day. They'd be drink, and if they were walking down the street drunk, would paddy wagon would come and take them away. I see drug people downtown drugged out on high as a kite, and nothing happens. They don't arrest them. They don't. I just don't get it. Like I say, the courts have a big issue. They let them walk. Because they probably have nowhere to put them. You know, my wife worked down there. She said, half the time you can only put so many people away because there's nowhere to put them. You know, it's
Not the.
Tom, you want to read this? This is from Eric Kitchier.
me. You want me?
Yeah.
That's not true. We have spent over $10 million, have services in place, and a plan the manager has outlined to place the homeless. They will not accept the help. Bobby,
Yeah,
did you
I
say that
agree.
point,
Thank you,
Bobby?
Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Bobby's point.
They don't want help.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know,
But
I'm-
the real freaking problem here is with Tewksbury and in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. The episodes that happened over at the Owl Diner, okay, those kiddos from high school, college, whatever they were, being chased by homeless, being maybe an overreaction, but it doesn't make any difference. You shouldn't be able to chase people down the street. And the same thing out to Tewksbury Hospital, okay? You got a couple of characters that escaped the building. They walk off the property. They look just like me and you walking down the street. Maybe their clothes aren't as clean as ours are, but nonetheless, they're walking down the street. They get off campus. The Tewksbury State, they're not state cops, but Tewksbury State Hospital has their own police department. Those guys are driving around the property looking for, and accidents happen. Since that episode, the security has completely changed out there. It's a lot more beefed up. I had the occasion to go into Tewksbury Hospital last week. I've been going in the same door for like 50 years. Not no more. The door always said, don't go in this way. Yeah, it's always open. I go in. It's just a shortcut. Doesn't work anymore. You have to go in where they tell you. Completely changed security out to Tewksbury Hospital. Say they're working on it. But this business of chasing people down the street happened to Linda Bound. We went out to dinner at one of the downtown restaurants in downtown Lowell. She's walking back to her car, and there's homeless banging on the window. Those things can't happen. It ruins downtown. And it's just, It's not the city's fault, but the people who are cuckoo birds enough to go banging on somebody's windshield, they need to be taken care of, put away.
You go down Prescott Street, you go down near McDonald's on Mammoth Road, and these people out there with walking down the street. I can't do that with a Salvation Army bucket. I think Mary Eric can tell. I think you have to get a license to do that. In other words, a permit to solicit money in an area like that. And I know I couldn't go down with a bucket in front in the traffic asking for money. And these people are allowed to do it. I mean, and it's every day.
You know what I look at when I look at the alcohol issue? My family, we owned a bar in Lowell, probably the most violent bar you'd ever want to see. It was called the Gorham Tap at one time, and then when we bought it, we called it Laurie's Lounge. I did it for almost 7 years. I was the bartender there. Seen more violence in there than I did in the prison, 20 years in a prison. Well, and the thing that always bothered me was the majority of the crowd can enjoy themselves. They can have a few drinks, they can, back in our days, gamble right in the bar, bet on hustlers over the phone, and we had it made back in the day. Those days are done. We had about 80 bar rooms in Lowell, okay?
Good.
Now half of them are churches. And with Bob's help down here at the bridge, I think we're working on those issues. It's just going to take a long time to get everybody sober. You're not going to get everybody sober.
Never going to happen.
But take the violence out of it, number one. Number one.
Mr. Hoey, take this one when you can.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Hoey.
Hey,
There are two Bobs over there.
if the goons at the State House cared about the homeless as much as they cared about being audited, the mental health problem would get addressed.
Good point.
Good point is right.
Yeah, it sure is.
There are about 6 or 8 people I know that would write that.
No, but for me though, everything to me is local. I love Lowell so much. I'm almost crazy over it. I think we're moving in a pretty good direction right now, Bob. I think we got the right mayor, and that's, to me, I've worked for 4 mayors, and some are better than others, but we have a pretty good mayor right now. He's not taking nonsense. He's in charge when the meetings are there.
Did you watch him in
Oh,
action
I
last
was
week?
there.
I watched
I
that
was
meeting.
there.
He just kept clearing the hall.
I spoke in favor.
I saw you,
And there was
Bobby.
like 5 people there.
Yeah.
And then the city council sat there, and they got bombarded by 40-something people.
Yeah, I
And,
saw the whole
really
thing.
bad. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they got beat down by Eric Gitcher. It was unbelievable.
Speak about the
half of them
aftermath.
And Rita.
How those goons,
Yeah, read it. Yeah.
those goons were outside City Hall waiting for
That's
the meeting to
exactly what I was
end.
just going to say, John. I was talking to Rita the next day, and
Oh, they were waiting
when
for
they
it.
were leaving, that whole crowd that was dispersed out of the chambers waited downstairs in the lobby. They got moved out of the lobby, and when the city council was leaving, they were all waiting outside the door, outside on Arcan Drive, to the point that several city councilors had to be escorted by 8 Lowell police officers that were there,
Wow.
escorted to their cars. So here's case in point. This is a group of homeless people that were there upset about the whole issue without voicing their opinion. And some of them were dressed up in drag, and I mean, Rita said it was pretty.
What I seen, and I tried to stay for the whole meeting, I probably missed the last half hour, let's say, but I caught all the good stuff. I would think most of the people that spoke against it and were kind of cruel when they were speaking to the city council, I thought were people that only lived in Lowell for a short while, some up to 10 years, but not lifelong residents. I didn't really see one of them that got up and spoke against it that were lifelong Lowell people. I didn't see that. They were usually you Lowell students and just getting here, and that's
Well,
fine.
it was
That's
good.
fine. Listen, John, when they come to a meeting, I have no problem if they want to scream at me personally. But what I felt good about was what Tom Bomil just said. When it got ugly and the mayor said to the cop, this one out,
Yep.
this one out, and that's to me, that's what you got to do.
And we're,
keep it- No,
Mr.
wait,
Bowman,
wait.
hold that thought, read these two.
the 2 homeless
It's
people.
from Eric Gitcher.
The 2 homeless people tried to rob the 3 high school kids. When they got caught, they came up with a great story about them taking money from them. It was an attempted robbery, and we did nothing. We listened to 2 drug users who tried to rob the kids. Exactly.
Well, Ellen and I and my sister-in-law Judy, we went down to the Keep down here to have dinner. I tell the nickname's the Dixie Chicks. I tell my wife and sister, look, leave your pocketbooks here. We're not going to have your pocketbooks. We'll just go down. So we went down. We didn't walk down. We drove down there. So we're going. We had a nice dinner, great time. Walking back to the car, two kids on bicycles come roaring up to my wife and sister-in-law and say, "Where's your pocketbooks?" So we don't have any. They were going to take their pocketbooks
Wow.
on bicycles. I mean, the incident happened in probably 20 seconds, but that's enough. And this is my neighborhood.
Wow.
So it's just,
It's awful.
and these guys they weren't the homeless. These guys were on their bikes.
And on going back to the council meeting, what gets me is that every one of those speakers spoke, the ones the council listened to them, but then when the councilors tried to give their opinion, they started harassing the council. And that, Eric, I know, and Rita were really, and I think Dakota wasn't too happy either.
Yeah. Well,
So-
to me,
And then the downtown council votes against the ordinance, right? Am I correct? Yeah.
But the
You're
thing,
right.
the
Yep.
thing we have to do, though, you have to try to fix the issue, period. Who knows how to do it? Well, the South Common, I'll give you my opinion. We have to get the Lowell Housing Authority in with this. They're the ones that put almost all people at the Bishop Markham Housing are either, single people, elderly that are lonely, and a lot of veterans and a lot of people that are with no children, okay? Now, if you go to the North Common, you won't see no tents around the North Common. Why? They'll be cleaned out by the residents. They got more family living there. So to me, the housing has to do some work to help us, to help the mayor and help the city. Believe me, a big part of it, because drug dealers, let me tell you, that's who I dealt with, a lot of them, okay? We have big opiate problems, Percocets, Vicodins, you name it. It's around. Cocaine, that's huge still. That's huge in Lowell. But that, Bishop Markham, back in the day, you wouldn't have done what's going on now, because the people would have policed it up. It was families. Now it's not so much. And the drug dealers can see those people that are old and lonely and have no money. They know how to get into those apartments and live with people. I used to pull up with the cab all the time. I told the cops many times, you want to know where the drug dealers are? Right in the housing project. And I'm not saying it's all them, but it's a big issue to fix that South Common forever. It's going to take time, but the housing authority has to be involved in it.
I liked, was it the owner of, what's it called, Mill Number 5, is that what it's called down there?
Yep.
And going up, blah, 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 blah. And I think Eric said to him, well, why don't you got a big building down there, why don't you bring them all down to your place if you're so
beautiful.
concerned? Yeah, it was beautiful, yeah.
Well, no, but it's going to take that type of work, and he's putting the effort in, there's no doubt about it, but I see the city council starting to come together, because the first year we had a lot of, I thought there was jealousy or fighting going on. I don't see it anymore. And what they've done for the schools so far, to me, is unbelievable. Maintaining them, trying to maintain them. Haven't done that, Bob, maybe in 100 years. We never maintained our schools. And I know when I was there, the newest school was, when I was on there, was the Maury School. Boilers were, it's the newest school we got, and 2 out of the 3 boilers were gone. Roof leaks, all kinds of problems, and it's our newest school. So I think this city council, out of what I know, and I'm only 70, I'm not the oldest person in the crowd, but I'll tell you, they've done a bang-up job under Danny Rourke with the schools.
Doing a great job.
Yeah. But now, I think the end, the
And he
election's
runs a
coming
good
up, buddy.
meeting. He runs a good meeting, Bob.
This is local elections, Tom. Every 2 years they
We
come,
start
right?
talking in January, we start talking about
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
handicap. Maybe we talk about this presidential election, Bob, back in January. Every week we come in here, Bob, say, how many days to the election? How many days to the election?
Yeah. So the hockey game, Bob, if you want to say it again, it doesn't hurt to say it one more
It's
time.
January 19th. It is the Sunday of Martin Luther King weekend. It's a great day to have it, because the kids don't have school the next day. It's an afternoon game. It's a great family event, and it's a cheap way to go out and take the family out. You can get group tickets. Adult tickets are $20 per adult, $16 for a child. And if you go with a group of 10 or more, there's a $4 discount per ticket. We did that on purpose to generate some people in the stands. I mean, we're never going to fill the strongest that holds 7,000 people. So, but it's a like I said, it's a good way to get the family together, get a bunch of people together, and go out and enjoy yourself, watch some quality hockey. It's funny because the police, the sheriff's department, and the fire department, it's a big deal for these guys. They're getting up skating against some people that, when they were growing up, were out, professionally skating, for the Bruins. And, they really get up for the game. And it's really interesting to watch. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. About a week ago, I run into Bruce Arcasian. You know him?
Yeah.
You guys? I know he was,
Yeah.
his son was, I think he's still the head coach of Lowell High
Kevin
School.
Murphy's brother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, Bruce has always been Bruce and even the coach, the hockey coach there, they just, anything they do, they touch baseball, their team's a winning team. I know I don't have the correct information right now, but they named a batting cage of some type of batting cages up on Lawrence Street in the 600 zone up there. And it's named after Bruce Arcasian. And to me, they're tremendous people, tremendous coaches. Oh, Bruce, he might be my age, I think. I'm
How's Bruce
70.
doing?
Huh?
How's Bruce doing?
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. I'm just joking. I think as a coach, though, I'm just saying how he coached kids. I never could beat that team. Every time I tried, I just couldn't beat the Arcasians. And his son's a really good coach. I forget the other coach. I don't know if you know him before him, Bob, way back, Beaver. They gave him a nickname, Beaver.
They don't.
No. But Lowell, to me, I hope I can wake up some of my friends because they love hockey. Sean Kremen, for instance, Rock Ronsley. I don't know if you know these names.
I don't, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because it's a group of people that, it's all ages, really. It's, the young kids, like I said, the Lowell Hawks, we brought that avenue in 2 years ago. And when my youngest son, Pat, was skating, playing for the Hawks, I was involved with the fundraising for the organization. It's a great organization. Parents become very, very close, tight-knit community. So by bringing them in, it's a big deal. These young kids get to see the Bruins, the former Bruins that were out skating and get out on the ice with them. The Bruins interact with the kids. That's what they do. There's all the money that's raised by these hockey games that I had mentioned, there's 37 of them on their schedule this year, goes to proceeds. The proceeds go to the Bruins Foundation, the money that they make as a foundation. We have to pay them to come into town to skate. That's where their revenue gets generated
Does
from.
Bob Sweeney play in that game?
I beg your pardon?
Bob Sweeney, does he play in that game?
Sweeney runs it. Sweeney's in charge of the,
Bob Sweeney's sister is my son's godmother.
yeah, but he's played in all 3 games so far. He's been on the ice.
Bobby, what's the cost to us on this? Is there a big, meaning the renting the Songus Arena out, all that stuff, me and the club, Bridge Club, is there a big cost to
The
us?
Songus takes care of us. They give us,
Okay.
somewhat of a discounted rate. That was negotiated back in
Okay.
4 years ago by Tom Golden.
Yeah.
And I met with Keith Vasky and a couple of more reps from the Songus Arena. And, I ended out, and I think somebody got to UMass Lowell and asked to give us a little bit of a discount because we're a nonprofit.
Sure.
But,
Sure.
the way this works, it's advantageous to us because the Bridge Club doesn't touch any money, any cash. The only thing we'll get directly is the sponsorship funds that come in. The Songus, all ticket sales go through the Songus ticket booth. So all of the name, the number that appears on the flyer directly to the Songus. I noticed last night that there's a QR code that's missing on this particular flyer, but there's a QR code that appears, you scan it, it brings you a link hyperlink directly to the Songus ticket booth. So the Songus collects all of the revenue for the tickets, and then they discharge a check when it's all said and done after whatever negotiated rent is paid. And a lot of the sponsors that come in, the sponsorships that have been available and are available, some of the larger sponsorships, $1,000 plus, come with a grouping of tickets. So, for example, Primo's Peeps, a great example. So they're the largest sponsor that we have for this event. We give them 100 tickets to give away to their customers, to generate people in the stands. Quite frankly, we make it back on the 50-50 raffles. But, the cost to us is $2 per ticket. That's what the Songus charges us for that complimentary ticket. So by giving out 100 tickets, it costs us $200. If there's 100 people in the stands, we'll more than make that up.
Sure,
So the
sure.
numbers work for us. But, anyone out there that's interested in doing sponsorships, there's a whole litany of sponsorships available. The interesting part of this, and the sponsors really love it, is that the Songus, during the course of the game, puts the sponsorship names and logos up on not only the scroll that goes around above the loge, but it's on a rotating basis, and they appear up on the center ice scoreboard during the course of the game. So what we do is take pictures of the sponsorship's name or logo up on the scoreboard, and then at the end of when the game is over, we have every Bruin that skated sign a poster, and then we frame that poster with a picture of the sponsorship on the center ice board and a game ticket, and frame it and give it to the sponsors, and
Cool.
They love them,
Yeah.
and they proudly display them.
Right,
I've seen them
right.
in many businesses throughout the city.
Not to put a twist in it, but when I was on the school committee for the 7 years, the Songus was charging us like 20,000 one year for graduation, then
Yeah.
it went up to 40,000. Then we had COVID coming, we're gonna use Spinners Park, and it went up. I asked many questions, how much did we spend at Spinners? Nobody would give you an answer, because it was upwards of 60, 80,000, I'm telling you, it was up that high. And then recently, not too long ago, I'm pretty sure Rourke and Everett get you and the boys and girls on the city council cut a deal that we no longer pay for graduations when they get Spinners Park was given to ULO. And I am so psyched about ULO.
But what happened to
Tom.
what happened to the graduations at the auditorium? When I graduated from Lowell High,
Yeah.
it was the auditorium. It was always at the auditorium, and that's a city-owned building, right? What happened there?
Yeah.
You know, couldn't not
Capacity,
taking what?
capacity,
Yeah.
Sorry?
capacity. You had to
Oh.
give tickets out, so your grandmother couldn't go.
Okay.
So that's the capacity, the song is
Because
just
you
has
graduated from
See,
the
but-
auditorium, right?
fantastic
What
capacity.
happens to me when I try to tell you something and someone says something, my ADD goes off and I'm almost forgetting everything I was trying to, the point I was trying to make.
ahead, Bob. We'll
Well,
go with this.
we gave away to Spinners Park, but like I said, the positive part is no more paying for our graduations. I think Jeff Thomas knows about that more than I do. But we also got Division I baseball coming up, okay, at that stadium. About 20 games, you'll be able to see Division I teams play, okay? And we have a kid that graduated out of Lowell Catholic. Imagine that big school, what is it, got 350 kids? And he's going to be going to ULO. And I hope I'm hoping as a freshman, that we see him pitch. Seamus Scott is his name, by the way.
It'd be great to see
Yeah,
another
it's
pro
incredible.
If you talk about that, we've been talking about the pro.
Now,
Nice
Bob
coming
Clark
back.
sent me this too. So, Bob, can you talk to the audience about this?
Okay, yeah, I think to switch gears a little bit. Interestingly, we've been fortunate enough to acquire a HVRP grant, which is a National Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program grant, which is a program that's run through the Department of Labor and the Veterans Employment Training Services. That's a 3-year grant. We're in our first year of that. The year that preceded this grant, we were operating under a similar grant, which was specific to the previously incarcerated veterans transition program, another national grant on the same scale. We've shifted gears a bit, and as a result of making an effort to give these homeless or in danger of being homeless veterans opportunities to get back into the workforce at a rate of pay that's substantial enough to support a family. We have identified employers, but now we've shifted gears and gone more into vocational training along with the standard employers. And we're offering vocational training opportunities at the Bridge Club and through partner organizations. So at the Bridge Club ourselves, we're offering culinary training. Let's just talk about that real quick. The kitchen is up running, I'm not sure it's up and running. It's about a week away from being up and running. That's going to produce the ability to offer culinary training classes, at least on a trimester basis, but we think we may be able to do it quarterly. So as many as 3 or 4 classes annually. And these students will be coming out trained to be a line cook in any restaurant. They'll have the skills to be able to do that. Now, the program manager, the culinary training program manager, is none other than Michael Riley.
Favorite wrestler.
Yeah, and obviously the culinary director for the vocational technical school as well. And Michael's taken this project on as something near and dear to his heart. He's incorporated people to help him that are also members of his staff at the Voc. But, Michael has really he's written a curriculum that is amazing, actually. Tom, I think you saw the curriculum. The entire board was
Remembering
giving
that
a
back to my
contact
son
us.
looked at it, he said he couldn't, it was so thorough.
Yeah,
Because he
yeah.
worked in the restaurant field, and he said, man, that's quite a.
While I
of
have
course.
Mr. Cox's attention, Bob, could you tell the audience, what does the Bridge Club do? And this is your webpage. I know there's a lot of stuff you do, and I can showcase
well,
anything you
there's
want.
the kitchen right there, but, the original mission of the Bridge Club back in 2018 was we were coming in and looking to open as simply a place for addiction recovery meetings, basically AA meetings, NA meetings. That was really the goal, is to have availability of meetings 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and really not a heck of a lot more than that. That whole concept or limited amount of thinking was changed greatly by COVID. Now, COVID actually acted as a gift for us, and I hate to say that, but, because it wasn't a gift to many, but it forced us to find ways to keep our doors open. And that's really exactly what happened. I believe it was a gift from God. I'll go to my deathbed believing that. Because we made the determination when the municipal buildings closed due to the COVID, and then the churches closed, the entire recovery community was turned upside down. All of their meetings, all of their lifeline, all of their support structure, all of a sudden disintegrated. They had no place to go. In groups, that's where people's strengths are. That's where people get their motivation from help from other alcoholics and addicts. And all of a sudden, that was in danger of disappearing. So we made the determination, no matter what, till the city of Lowell comes and changes these doors closed, we're staying open, and we did. And somebody was watching over us, because we never closed, and we never had an outbreak. And as meetings started to come back around after the initial probably 3 or 4 weeks, when everyone was too afraid to go outside, people started to realize, I better do something, because this isolation is going to drive me back to drinking or drive me back to drugging. And in an effort to save their own life, they took the chance
So today
Started to attend
being
meetings.
Tuesday, this is what's going on down at, and if you want to know where the Bridge Club's, right across the street from the Lowell Memorial Auditorium.
correct.
Good sized facility. And 10:30 this morning, you just walk in. You don't have to pay, just walk in and,
That's correct. You don't need
Chit-chat
an
with some-
invitation, you don't need to make an appointment, you just walk in the door and someone will there be to help you. You come in, take a chair, sit down, listen if you want, participate if you want, get up and leave if you want, there's no pressure.
now I'm not going to bring you through everything, but just going through today. What's daily reflections? That's at 10:30 this morning.
It's a name of a group. It's simply, all the names you're gonna see there, Bob, John, are simply group names. People have to, in order to post them in the AA, now it's a website, but it used to be a booklet that was produced by Central Services out of Boston. You have to identify a group name. So these names that you're seeing are simply a name that was brought up. Some of them have specific meaning to them. For example, there's a meeting tonight called Our Path, Our Journey, as you see, at 6:30 tonight. That's a takeoff on Learn to Cope. That is, Learn to Cope was designed originally for parents of children who had passed away due to a drug overdose. And it was helping parents learn to cope with the fact.
So we got AA, on the type of meeting, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. What's RDA? Recovery Drama.
It's Recovery Dharma. It's the RDA,
Okay.
Recovery Dharma. It's more of a meditation type thing. I've attended 2 meetings. Some people love it. Some people, it's not up their alley. And that's the beauty of AA or NA. You just go there and take whatever works for you. It's not all standardized, different formats, different meetings. Some work for you, some don't. I know when I first started to go, I went to the Shrine. It was a big book study meeting. I walked in, I'm like, wow, no, I can't do this. I hope there's something better. And, I looked around until I found something I was comfortable with. And that's what people should be encouraged to do.
So the next one says SUP, and it says Our Path, Our Journey.
That's the one I just was, it's a support. It's a support group. SUP is support. So, again, that is something that's not standard. That's something that one of our recovery coaches designed, came up with, and built a format for. And that could be parents struggling with children. It could be children struggling with parents. Anything under the sun that involves addiction and a family having to deal with it is what that group is about. So there's no limitations on what can be discussed at that group. People are welcome to bring any issue, any problem, and it will be addressed.
Okay, now,
Well, I mean,
next
what's-
one down is, at 6:30, Men's Lowell Big Book Step Study. What
Yep.
is that one?
The 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous outlined in, we call it the Big Book. It's the actual journal that people go by, written by, Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson. And that's the Bible of AA. So the Big Book study meeting, the steps, the 12 steps of recovery as defined by Alcoholics Anonymous are clearly outlined. Steps that are taken to get from a point of insanity, being in the midst of an addiction, to returning to a life of normalcy, or as best you can. And those 12 steps are broken down during a Big Book study meeting in detail and discussed in detail in group. And it really brings an understanding of what each individual step means. And that could be something that people love and race towards. It could be something that people, shy away from. But it's more of or NA is something that you go and take what you need and you leave the rest. Whatever works for you is what is there for you.
I think Thursday's pretty cool. All Addicts Anonymous at 6:30.
That's an interesting group. That's well attended too. And again, that speaks to not so much the support structure that we just discussed, but it speaks more to the various addictions that are out there. For example, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. If it's an individual drug that someone wants to speak about, cocaine or opioids or what have you, sex is involved with that one. Social media addiction, a huge one that's coming to the table right now. And interestingly enough, we have a program that we're working with the Lowell school systems where the Bridge Club has put a team together that's going to be going into the schools and talking to the kids, grades 5 through 8 is what we're trying to target, about addiction awareness. The LRTA, as a matter of fact, gave us a van. Interesting. They gave us a van that we're going to create, an addiction awareness vehicle. I've just reached out to the vocational school, and the graphics art director, Valerie Bracco, I believe her name is going to engage with the kids and get some ideas as to what that rap should look like. I'm very curious as to what the kids' view of addiction would be.
So if you want to look at this stuff, just go to Bob's website and you just go to Google and you just say Greater Lowell, a Bridge Club of Greater Lowell. It'll bring you right there. Bridge Club of Greater Lowell.
Yep.
Thanks, Bob.
Boy, what's the average amount of people per meeting? Is there it varies?
It varies greatly.
You
I
have
mean,
some
I do a
packed, you have
6
some-
a.m. I do a 6 a.m. meeting on Fridays. That could be 3 people.
Oh,
It could
okay.
be 10 people.
Okay.
But then again, in retrospect, we have a meeting. It's called Sober at 7, and it's 7 nights a week at 7 p.m. And that meeting has upwards of 100 people in it.
Holy cow! Wow.
4 out of the 7 nights, there's 100 people, probably 75 average of the other 3. But that's standing room only in
Wow.
our large meeting room that's seated for 90, and we have folding chairs that surround the back too. So that's a big meeting, a huge variety of age groups there.
And
We have
that's one meeting that's every night. You said
every single night at 7.
Wow.
There's 5 days a week. We have a 10:30 meeting, a 2 o'clock meeting, and a 7 o'clock meeting, and then the weekends also, there's a 7 o'clock. Interestingly enough, now this is the time of the year, we should probably talk about this, this is a big time of the year coming up with the holidays for people who suffer with addiction. The holidays are a huge trigger. So, throughout the years, 40, 50 years or more, AA recognized that fact and started to do organized events called alcothons. And they basically are round-the-clock AA meetings for people to walk in during this holiday season and to be able to catch a meeting. You don't need to be part of a group. They just walk in the door, there's a meeting going on, sit down, participate, don't participate, listen, whatever you want to do. And there's been one that's been running for, I think, 40-plus years at the Knights of Columbus in Tewksbury on Christmas Day. It starts at noontime on Christmas Eve day, runs through the night till 6 p.m. on Christmas Day. That event is moving to the Bridge Club this year.
I'll be
for the
right
first
there,
time
Tony,
in
thanks.
40 years.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting. And, it's a tough time for
These
people.
are like for people who are alone and have drug problems.
Or honestly, Tommy, sometimes it's people, being around the family, everybody's in a festive mood, everybody's drinking,
Yeah.
partying, that's what you're used to, that's what you've done for your whole life. Being around it is not something that's conducive to sobriety
Right,
sometimes.
right.
So in that instance, they can get in the car, drive to the Bridge Club, or wherever, catch a meeting and protect yourself, quite
Bob,
honestly.
do me a favor, there's only a few minutes left before we go into City Life. Why don't you hit the thing, just the people that are on the computer, tell them about what you got
Okay,
going
yeah,
again.
let's talk about that. So the vocational training opportunities, if you know a veteran, if you're a veteran and you know a veteran out there that's looking for a change in life or looking to benefit them or better themselves, we've got some vocational training opportunities available at the Bridge Club. Culinary training is one, as we just discussed. That involves a training and placement, a TAP program, training and placement. I'm going to train you, we're going to find you a job, and we're going to pay 90 days of apprenticeship, half of an hourly rate. We're going to support that individual to one of the local restaurants to take on one of our graduates for 90 days. We have recovery coach training. Recovery coaching that we've been training since the end of 2021. We will train both Recovery Coach Academy 1 and Recovery Coach Academy 2 at the Bridge Club. That also is going to involve a placement. We're going to do the best we can to place these trained recovery coaches within other nonprofits throughout Greater Lowell. Some nonprofits are out there, they think they may or may not want a recovery coach. This is an opportunity to have one on board for 90 days at half rate and see if it works for you. CDL training, this is something that we've keyed in on through our partnership with New England Tractor Trailer Training School up in North Andover. We actually pay for veterans to go through and receive a Class A or Class B CDL license. That's something that's been hugely successful with the veterans, something that is, when completed, it's a $100,000 a year job all day long. Unfortunately, that's something that we cannot do training and placement for because the CDL requirements or the individual companies generally require a length of experience, sometimes a year or more of CDL experience before they'll give you a tractor trailer to drive. So the CDL training, we can help you and steer you in the right direction. But New England Tractor Trailer Training School has career days, actually, while these classes are going on. Employers who understand these are brand-new drivers come to the table and make their pitch to these various candidates for employment. So there is jobs available for newly trained CDL drivers. The newest one, and I'm very excited about this one, is through our partnership with Pride, Star, and Trinity. Dave Daly just recently has agreed to partner with the Bridge Club, and we're going to use his vocational training school. We'll be paying for that for veterans to be able to go and become EMTs. Now, the EMT certification is great if you want to be an ambulance driver, but it's also a prerequisite for anyone that is aspired to be a firefighter. That will also, it's one of the things that's a requirement with a firefighter now.
So we're going to go off the break, Lynn.
Okay.
And, we're going to do some musical chairs. Tony Archinski's in the building, so we're going to break. We'll be back, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Good morning, I'm Bob Hoey, the host today of City Life. Thanks for watching the Dawn Patrol. We just had Bob Cox on for an hour. It was a great time and a lot of knowledge I got about rehabbing and helping people out. And now we have Tony Archinski right next to me there. And next to him, of course, I always like to call him Mr. Salvation Army. You've done a lot of great things, and recently out there in Dracut, is the boat in Dracut or Tingsboro?
Dracut.
Dracut. Well, I'll tell you, what a party they had there Sunday for Salvation Army. I'm dying to see the numbers. This year we had 250,000 last year total, not just from that party, but from things like what Tom Bomil does. It's just such a giving area. It's unbelievable when I look at everything. I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about people.
Tony rings the bell for us.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I'll be in touch with you. It's the 14th. I'll be in touch with you.
Like I didn't know that, Tom.
I will be in touch with you.
Tom starts scheduling the bell ringing somewhere around July.
Yeah, but the Merrimack Valley to me, I mean, and I haven't been around the world, but I've been around this country, I'll tell you that. And it's a giving area. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
Oh, it is.
you know, even just Lowell High School, over $500,000 they give out in scholarship money.
Sure.
I mean, just that one thing alone to me, I said, wow, $500,000? And, you know, of course, I always had some beefs with that too, because some kids would leave with 10,000 cash and some would leave with 200, you know? So, but again, it's still the amount of money that's raised by people. It's insane, you know? And I thought, Paul Belay deserves, he must be still sleeping. That's how tired he was. He worked hard that day, that Sunday, blowing his saxophone. I think he was just barely awake near the end of it. That's how hard he worked for the Salvation Army. So, Tom, Dracut, go ahead, get something going about
How did
Dracut.
town meeting go last night?
Well, first of all, where's Ned?
That's right. Ned's not feeling that good this morning.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, he called me
Scheduled
this.
to come in.
Well, he called me at 5:15 this morning saying, pick me up, and then he didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Oh,
You could
okay.
tell, he just said, I'm going back up north.
What he's been through, God bless him.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
So we have a good town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting town meeting. Of course, we rolled out our new clicker system. I don't know if you're familiar with
Was it
that.
successful?
But we can now just click a button and the vote shows up on the screen, and it's instantaneous. And
No more screaming and hollering?
well, you know, there was still some hecklers out in the audience, you know, but it actually worked pretty good. You know, need to work out some of the kinks, but
Yeah.
but it did work. And
Yeah, your
it's,
quorum.
we got plenty of people for the quorum. And so, I mean, you know, the highlight of the night is that the MBTA zoning article went down in flames, but not really in flames. It was only seven votes that made the difference. You know, there was an hour and a half worth of debate back and forth on, you know, whether we should comply with the law, whether we shouldn't comply with the law. You know, my feeling has been, and trust me, I mean, you know, nobody that I know likes being told what to do by the state, especially when it comes to building housing and you know, projects such as the MBTA, where, you know, we would have put in, you know, another 1,200 units of housing. But it is the law, and so, you know, as an elected official, even though I didn't like it and I had to hold my nose, you know, I just couldn't see myself encouraging the people in the audience to break the law. And a vote to not comply with the MBTA zoning issue will put us in a position where, you know, we may get sued by the Attorney General's office, we may lose grant money. So my feeling is, although I didn't like it, I did support it, and it lost by 7 votes.
So that, it means nothing but then, is that what you're saying? Because the state's going to tell us to do, they're going to have to comply with it anyway, is that what you're saying? They were just letting the state know that we don't want this, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, you know, we were supposed to come within compliance, you know, we were
Right.
supposed to, you know, the whole thing is a plan. And we had 2 areas in town where we would zone for, you know, for housing. There was nothing in the plan that said that we have to build. We just have to zone for it. And people took issue with that. And people took issue with even zoning for, where this housing could be in years to
Right.
come.
Right.
So, the town of Milton actually came out and said, we're not going to do this. And they
Exactly, I saw
are now
that, yeah.
getting sued
Yeah.
by the Attorney General's office, and there's a big court case, and they're in the Supreme Court, Mass Supreme Court, right now. So there was a lot of talk about, well, why don't we delay this until the next town meeting, and just see where the Milton case goes. My issue was that, no two court cases are ever the same. There are differences in a lot of different things. You can't say, well, that town sued successfully, so we can. There were different issues, in different cases. So I got up and I spoke to support the MBTA zoning proposal, warrant article, and a lot of people got up and spoke for it. A lot of people got up and spoke against it. And when the final tally came, it went down 7 votes.
Wow.
So was it on Dracut Access TV?
I'm not sure if it was live. I'm sure.
No, I think what they use is tape it, and it'll probably be on
Yeah, they
today.
probably taped it and put it on today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what happened with the town manager? Is that over?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's over?
well,
Except for
Did
a
you
contract,
figure
right?
out what you're paying them yet?
well, what we're doing
Uh-huh.
now is we are in executive session, secret squirrel meetings, as John would say, and
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
we're in the process of negotiating a contract. We have chosen the person, Kate Hodges, that I have a very, very good feeling about, very professional. So we're in the process of negotiating. We're going to call for an executive session on Thursday night to wrap up the negotiations, and hopefully we'll have a new town manager in a short period.
You know
We have
what
an
I love?
idea of a starting date, or is that part
Well,
of negotiations?
you know what, I mean, currently she's working for another municipality,
Right,
so
right.
she'll have to give notice there. But, as you know, Tom, we appointed Allison Manugian
she's great.
to the acting town manager's job, so, it's not as urgent as one would think.
I
you
remember
know.
when Duggan came here, he had to give them like 30 or 60 days' notice
Yeah.
in Gloucester. It was like, and we had to wait, I remember.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
mean,
it's-
I think the urgency of it is we start our budget process in January.
right.
So, we certainly would like to have the new town manager on board and working towards the next fiscal year's budget.
Yeah.
And I think that will happen.
We talked about executive sessions and secret squirrel meetings so many times on this show, it's almost sickening. But you know what, I always remembered that when they'd say to you in these meetings, oh, don't say a word, before the sun come up, it would be leaked to the low sun. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was, every single meeting, the next day it was right, they had something written about it. you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Well,
And
things happen.
Oh, yeah, but I always feel some way, somehow, we should be recording it, not just people writing minutes down. That's all.
Right, yeah, and I guess that's the nature of the beast. I mean, even in regular meetings, minutes are not verbatim. Minutes are a summary of what happened, and you're right, Bob. I mean, sometimes the person that's taking the minutes, may see things differently than what actually happened at the meeting, but, that's the best we have at this
And
point.
there's only like 4 or 5 reasons to go into executive session, right? The character of a person,
Right.
litigation, right? Those
Yeah,
types of things.
yeah,
right?
litigation,
Yeah.
contract negotiations, personnel issues,
Sure.
basically. So
Sure.
there's only a few reasons to go into executive session, and they're all basically to protect
Well,
somebody.
the word that you guys use, and not just you, Tony, lovely Lowell does it, Tewksbury does it, executive session. Nicknamed secret squirrel meetings. It's an off-the-record discussion about an issue, is what it really is. It's off the record. You can correct the minutes, I didn't say that, that didn't come up. Don't forget we brought this up. And I tell my friends that go to a controversial meeting, you just take out your cell phone. Say, just to let everybody know I'm recording this meeting. And they'll go ballistic. You can't, yes, I can record this meeting. And I'm just telling you, the only thing, the mass law is, you have to announce you're recording the meeting. Hello, I'm recording this meeting. You hold your cell phone, I don't know where my cell phone went, but you hold it up, hit record, and there's nothing anybody at that meeting can do about it. Now, if you decide to go down there and you call Melanie Gilbert, hey, Melanie, you want to hear the meeting? You can be charged with you did something wrong. The average Jane and Joe, it's good proof. I said this and you said that. But it doesn't ever happen.
Well, you know, I mean, I think when you talk about executive session too, you have to, you can't talk about it without, you know, realizing the reason why you go into executive session. So, you know, Tom and I go into executive session, and we're going to talk about Bob's character. And, you know, there are things that may be said that Bob may take issue with, and well, actually, I mean.
And Bob has to be told.
Yeah, he would be invited into it.
Right.
But on the other hand, you know, there may be things that are said that, you know, that shouldn't be out in the public domain. You know, it could cause lawsuits and things like that. So I agree, John. I do not like going into executive session unless it's for one of the 10 special reasons why you can. I think that all of the government business should be done in the public's eye, but there are some good reasons why.
Well, I've sat in some executive sessions, not with you, Tony, with other individuals, and they have no trouble saying, you know, Hoey's a Catholic, right? You know, Hoey lives in Belvedere, right? He lives in Belvedere. And that's not in the minutes. You know, he's independent. He doesn't even be a member of a party. That's his problem. None of that stuff's in the meeting, but all these little spitballs get pasted onto the individual off the record. Now, while we're talking about off the record, texts that you get during a selectmen's meeting, what are your thoughts on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on those texts? Are they part of the public record and they never get there?
Yes, I can tell you that they are part of the public meeting. And if you see somebody up there while they're texting in a public meeting, you can actually FOIA those texts. So that is part of, oh yeah, that's part of them. That's why I don't even take my phone with me during the meetings. Because it's just, you know, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, because when I used to, yesteryear, 1,000 years ago, I used to do the cameras for school committee meetings and for city council meetings. And the antics that would happen off camera, because I would sit in the control booth like over here, and I got all these cameras. I can see what everybody's doing. And I know who's on TV. Right now I know who's on TV, but still as another control, I can see what you guys are doing. And it was just unbelievable. When somebody would get up and talk, you'd see other characters jump out of their chair, run over, they'd be talking one-on-one to the manager, right in the manager's face, and it's all off camera. I'm there like, these gluttons are unbelievable what they do. And once the texting started, you can see like, and then Tom looks at his phone during the meeting, and he texts back.
Well, I actually see that happening on this show a lot. I see a lot of texting going on here, especially with Tom. So, Tom, say this.
You know, I worked with 4 different mayors on the school committee, and I'll never forget Joe Boyd's contract. We were negotiating in executive session, and some of the last-minute details was by phone. His lawyer was on the other side saying he lived in Cambridge, I think. It was around Boston somewhere, but I'm pretty sure it was Cambridge. And right at the very end, when we were trying to figure out how much we're going to pay him, his lawyer asked for $5,000 to move his furniture from Cambridge to Lowell. And we're looking at about $250,000 as it is. And right away, I said, the mayor was Bill Samaras. I goes, oh yeah, let's give him that. Give him that. Bill said, I'm not moving his furniture. They just get worried, you know. But what I've seen too many times is people saying a certain thing and coming in the next day, I think they used the word retracted, something out of that, saying, I never said that. Redact, okay. Right. And they said it. You know, so that's why I think we got so much technology today, there has to be a way that you can videotape them or record them.
Well, you know, that's
for the
that's the
public.
other problem, you know, with executive session minutes. A lot of times the minutes are not done right away because, you know, you very rarely have one executive session that handles the whole night's business there, then done. A lot of times it's an executive session, and we'll come back after something is done, and then we'll come back again after something is done. So for a lot of the times, the executive session minutes aren't done for 6 months. So, you know, when you get them, you go, well, you know, did I say that? Did so-and-so say this? So that's another issue with executive session. But I really don't know about the legalities of actually, you know, taking it.
You know, another thing I always looked at, well, schools, obviously, I love the schools. I think every town and city should love their schools. But I think Dracut and Chelmsford and Billerica, the towns, don't really get their fair share. I really don't believe it. Lowell, we do pretty good. We do pretty good in Lowell. We get most of the money from the state. But knowing that Dracut gets the most lottery money, I couldn't believe that when I heard that. Think of that. The town of Dracut brings in more lottery money than Lowell? Just look at the population, and you would never dream that, right?
Well,
we're
Until,
bored community.
I know you're
Yeah.
a board. What I'm
Exactly.
saying is, I always thought lottery focuses on the schools with their money, right? Or what else do they spend the money on? Should be schools, I always thought.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not sure.
And going back to the Pelham, Hudson, in their states,
no,
New
I hear
Hampshire,
you.
the highest for lottery. They, because of the Massachusetts residents.
I'm
they
just
play it.
hoping Dracut gets their fair share, that's all I'm saying, because if they're that
Sure.
big, and
Yeah.
they're bringing in that much money, and I always thought lottery money helps schools, because I feel like Dracut hurts a little bit
Yeah,
when it
I
comes
mean,
to
I'm sure
schools.
it does. I'm not sure what the distribution model is, you know, relative to who gets what, but I mean, I'm sure we get lottery money.
Well, I mean, when they had the committee to bring, who was the last superintendent of schools? What's his name? We were just talking about.
In Lowell?
Yeah, who was the last?
Boyd?
Joe Boyd. Did you guys have to meet in executive session for your, when you were doing the committee, the blue text, the blue ribbon committee, whatever?
No, I don't think so, not as far
I didn't
as
understand
question.
what we had to.
We had the pink
we were
ribbon
told we had
committee,
to
don't
allow it.
forget, they called it the pink ribbon committee. We had
Whatever,
like
whatever.
18 people.
Yeah,
That's a lot of people.
yeah.
But Joe Boyd ended up with 18 votes of yays, and really, there was one that didn't want him, and that was the union leader, Paul Georges.
Well, you know, Tom, I think one of the biggest reasons for executive session in a search like the committee that you served on is that, you know, some of these candidates don't want their employer
that's
to
the big
know,
one. That's the big
you know,
one, yeah.
that they're looking for another job.
That's the big one.
Not that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, but, I mean, just stop and think about it. You know, we have a town manager, and then all of a sudden, we hear that this town manager is looking somewhere else. Well, that signals to me
Yeah.
that he may not get this job, but he's probably looking for another job
yeah.
somewhere else, and then, you know, next thing you know, the board is looking for a new town manager
Right.
just because somebody's trying to better themselves.
We had one,
I had-
one person that was trying to get that job, and I'm pretty sure he was from Malden, superintendent, and he was blamed for trying to privatize, let's say, I think it was the custodians, it was. But he got burnt before that even, he couldn't even come out and speak. Once Paul Georges seen that, that was it. And that's my problem when you put certain people on a committee like that.
And you
know?
go about, and going back to what Tony said, the life expectancy of a town manager, you're not gonna, there's no more Dennis Pindex out there, 27 years.
For
You're
sure,
gonna- You're gonna, I mean, she might be here 5 years, she might be here, it depends. You know they're gonna be looking for something better, a city manager's job. She's gone up from town administrator to, actually assistant manager to town
Right.
administrator to.
Right, yeah.
So it'll be interesting, you know?
Tony, last night we went out to delightful Dracut to the Loci for dinner. So I'm sitting across from, this is the whole group sitting at the Loci. It was a delicious time, we had a great time, and I'm sitting across from Josh Taylor. So he's talking about the MBTA thing, and I said, Josh, what do you think about changing the building codes in town? For every 2 bedrooms, you gotta have a full bathroom. You guys are letting them build developments that are never going to be torn down. They'll be there 100 years from now. They don't have enough bathrooms. And so that it didn't fall on deaf ears. He liked the idea. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but Tony, you're going to let them build 100, 200, whatever number of units are going to get built in town with 1 bathroom for 4 bedrooms. I just think that it's undersized for bathrooms. And since it's going to be there until we're all long in the cemetery, it's something you guys should consider. Look, we're going to have a compromise here. If you want to build in our town, we want to have. And the same thing for my friend Mark Kratman out in Tewksbury. If you're going to build in our town, you've got to put more bathrooms in than you want. Just don't go with 1 for 4 beds. because we all grew up in a simpler time. And it's just surprising to me that I had to wait in line. We were all standing outside the bathroom waiting for somebody to get done in the bathroom. And they're unnecessary, especially when we're building brand spanking new stuff. Your
Is that the
thoughts?
case on that development?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a building inspector.
No, but that
I never
development, I
claimed to
think
be.
he's talking about Kevin O'Brien's.
Yeah,
but is
yeah,
that-
well, I mean, I'd be even more concerned about parking spots. You know, you have
Yeah.
4 bedrooms and 2 parking
Oh, no,
spots.
the governor said you don't need parking spots anymore. They're all gone.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all gone. In Lowell, you can build whatever, you can build a 54-story building. You don't have to have parking anymore. That's a new state law.
Yeah, and by the way, John, you know, I grew up in a house with 7 kids. We had 1 bathroom. We made it okay.
But is that okay today?
I don't know.
Well, we survived.
But I think it's, okay, forget it then. I just think,
All I can say is my mother was a good scheduler. We all,
I
knew,
think- I
we
think-
all knew what our 10 minutes
I
in the
don't
bathroom
know.
was in the morning.
I don't know if this is a fact, but I think most homes that are built now have at least a bath
And a
and a
half.
half. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I'm going to try to find that out about the Kevin O'Brien's. I'm sure it's a bath and a half.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I haven't dug that far down into the weeds on
Yeah.
the Murphy Farm thing just yet.
Where's that stand now? That's a go? Or
also,
I don't know.
a
There's
hookup
still, you know, at this
for a
point-
washer and dryer. Is there going to be a hookup for a washer and dryer in there? I think that should be mandatory. You have to have a hookup
That's an automatic.
in the unit.
Yeah,
That's a plumbing code,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I guess you have to think about, well, who would buy one if there weren't 2 bathrooms?
And then I talked to Phil Tebow about this. I don't, looking at South Carolina, all the terrible things that happened with the hurricane that they had down there, buildings getting knocked down. The buildings we're putting up, they're all made of wood. They were being made of steel for a while, but now it's all wood. When you see them going up, it's all wood. Phil says they're strong enough to resist a hurricane, and that's a debate I have with Phil now and then, but he says they are strong enough to do a hurricane.
I'd take Phil's word for it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, if George Anthes were alive, what would he be saying? You need an architect to be a building inspector. He always used to say that, George.
Yeah, I remember that,
So-
for sure.
So right after the first of the year, we'll be talking elections, Tony. You're running for re-election, I'm assuming, right?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
I don't know if you saw the paper. A good friend of mine, Kim Conway, announced in the paper
Yeah.
this morning that she's done. She did three terms out in Billerica.
Yeah.
I'm just completing my 4th term, so.
So you're a maybe?
Well, I'm a strong maybe, but.
He's a probable.
I've also thought about what it would be like to get out of public life and actually just live my life.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I'm not thinking in those terms as well. You know, also thinking about age. I'm going to be 71 next month, and
You're a kid.
You know, and it's more than just running for election next year. It's a 3-year commitment. So if I commit for another 3 years, they'll be calling me Dougie Willett.
Yeah.
Tom, you know, I'll be almost 75 years old by the time I finish my next term. And you know, sometimes I think, well, maybe it's time to let some of the younger people do
You
it.
need the wisdom. Administration's not going away. Administration is just that they retire when they want to, but the wisdom you bring to the meeting, like people, they'll complain about my friend Rita Mercier. Oh, she's been on the wisdom she has, that she knows what's coming next. Or if you do it this way, this is what's coming up next. And you get a new politician in there going, oh my God, she was right. She told me this was going to happen.
Yeah, there
The
is a
wisdom
lot
you
of.
have is just, you
Yeah,
can't.
there's a lot of institutional knowledge and also just, you know, knowing the ropes. I think about how green I was my first term, you know, and then now here we are, you know, 12 years later. You know, I agree. I think you need a healthy mix, you know. Josh is on this year for his first term. I think that's good. I see a little greenness in some of the things he wants to do, but, you know, his heart's in the right place. And I think that every member of the Board of Selectmen at this point has what's, you know, the best interest of the town at heart. You know, there's.
And everybody has
yeah,
different ideas,
I
different
mean,
thoughts, different, you know.
Right.
Everybody.
I mean,
you know.
I'm at the point after 12 years, is I still still don't think of myself as a politician. Now, you know, if you've been doing it for 12 years, people call you a politician. But I still think of myself as, you know, Tony, the volunteer that is trying to do the best I can to make our town. You know,
Who's 35 years old?
exactly.
Yeah, it's just a crazy world, though. Local politics is a funny thing. You know, you're from Dracut. I know I've been in 7 different elections in Lowell. You see someone come out, because we changed the way we vote. You know, we caved in like the MBTA vote that you had. We had people that was going to sue us if we didn't change the way we vote. And we went to redistricting. And to me, I was against it, firmly against it. But now that I look at it, thank God we had it, because you look at my favorite right now is Eric Gitcher, out of all of them. And I'll tell you something, I know there's already, they're not going to do it, but there's a movement to get rid of him. There's a movement.
Sure there is.
There's a movement. They don't want him around here because he's doing his job. That's all he's doing. And anytime you're really doing your job, 100% doing your job, they're going to be working to get rid of you, buddy.
I'm going to do announcements here, and I'm going to shut your mics off. You guys can tell dirty jokes over there if you want. Coming up in January, Bobby Cox was here earlier this morning talking about that. Coming up in January is going to be a hockey game between the Bruins alumni against the Lowell Police, and that's going to coming up on January 19th, and there's a website there. You can go and buy tickets. Pretty good stuff. And then the Lowell Police are they're having a food drive. So if you're at the supermarket, put an extra, some peanut butter and jelly or whatever, there's a whole bunch of stuff, some tuna, whatever you want to put in your cart, and scoot down to the Lowell Police Station, park out front, take a walk into the front door, and there's a box there you can put all the food in. They're just collecting food for those who need it. Father Clancy, this guy, he's the pastor of a whole bunch of churches on the other, over by St. Rita's. I don't know how many churches he's a pastor of, but Cadillac of a guy, he's going to have a procession around Lowell. And it's coming up November 24th at 11 a.m. And it's going to go from St. Rita's to the Grotto on Mammoth Road, then Pawtucket Street with the station at the University Crossing, and then it's going to continue all around. There's a map down the bottom here. It's free to go to this. If you want more information, there's an email down here, so just take your phone, go over to the TV set, take a picture of this slide, and Father Clancy and his friends will be glad to see you walking around the city. The River of Divine Mercy Collaborative. So pretty good. The Eucharistic procession coming up on November 24th at 11 a.m. Moving right along, St. Valentine's Church out in Chelmsford. And they have a book club. Parishioners and friends of St. Valentine's are welcome to join the church's book club, where you can enjoy warm fellowship and engage in lively discussion over a monthly book selection. For more information, just, again, take your phone, be in touch with Isabel Hamill, that's her email address, and she'll be glad to tell you a little bit more about this. Everyone sent me out. I'm out in Chelmsford. They're going to have a parade Sunday, December 1st, out in Chelmsford, the holiday prelude. It's going to be on the Common, and a nice parade coming out there, and Evelyn will tell us more about this when she's here on Thursday. Actually, she's not coming this Thursday, so I'll put Sam Chase on this, so he'll tell us more about it on Thursday. Okay, this is coming up, it's an art display, creative gifting, November 8th through the 5th. The reception is going to be December 14th from 3 to 5 p.m., sponsored by Nancy Donahue, by the All-League Arts League of Lowell, and the address is 307 Market Street. So it's free to get down there, and a lot of eye candy, all the good art you're going to see down there. It'll be a lot of fun. And beginning, this is bus rides out to the malls, okay. They'll bring you to Pheasant Lane Mall in Cow Hampshire. That's pretty cool. You used to go to Burley, but now we go to New Hampshire. That's nice. And you pick you up at the LRTA, Kennedy Center. Those are the arrival times and the drive times. And beginning December 1st, the bus ride's free. So pretty cool. The LRTA is doing this. They have a deliberate bus that's going to go out to the Pheasant Lane Mall to help you with your Christmas shopping. Bob Cox was here earlier this morning talking about this, and this is if you want to learn how to cook, learn how to be a CDL driver. If you're looking to know more about EMT stuff, be in touch with the Bridge Club, and they have a program down there where they can teach you to create a nice career for yourself. That's the free bus ride beginning December 1st, 2024, and continuing through September 30th, 2025. Any LRTA bus, give it a hearty wave, it'll pick you up, and you can ride that bus for free. Zippity-doo. They're not taking your money. So pretty cool, and you can start enjoying that the 1st. That's the last announcement. Back over to you, Robert. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna mention a business again. It's Bruce Arcasian. It's named after him. It's at about the 600 block of Lawrence Street. If someone can call in and tell me more about it, I forget the initials of it, but it's a batting cage, and it's to teach kids how to play baseball. And we've been I think the city of Lowell and a lot of people like Corey Robinson, Eric Gitcher, and many more of them, all are trying to bring baseball back to Lowell, which I think is a great idea, especially where we have Division I baseball going to be playing at Spinners Park. I'm all excited. And I have to mention Seamus Scott again from Lowell Catholic, be playing Division I ball for you, Lowell. I don't know if he'll come out as a freshman, but I think he's that good that they'll pitch him at least once out of the 20 games we're going to have at the Spinners Park. But someone opened a business up there in my neighborhood, Lawrence Street, and it's named after Bruce Arcasian, which him and his son's the coach of Lowell hockey team. Anything they touch turns to winners. So I'll get the name of it, and I'm hoping someone could call in and tell me. I think it was BYTE, something like that. The
Well, but when you
initials.
ride by, take a picture, just send it a text, and we'll talk about more on Thursday.
Yeah, that's fine. But right now, Tony, what else is Dracut? What big issues do you see for Dracut this year coming
Well,
up?
before we get on
Yeah,
that,
go ahead.
I just want to tell you how far back I go. I worked with Bruce Arcasian. He was my boss when I first got out of the service.
Great guy.
In the late 70s. So I've seen him maybe once or twice since then, but glad to see that he's out there doing good things. I also am a baseball fan. My son Adam played baseball, and we never missed a game from 8 years old all the way through high school. He played at the Vogue, so that's great. So the other things happening in the town of Dracut, again, the biggest thing on the forefront now is the hiring of a new town manager. I think probably by the end of the week, we'll have an announcement, hopefully, and, then we get into budget season. In January, all the department heads will submit their budgets to the town manager, and they'll fist fight and fight back and forth for every dollar, and hopefully, in the end, we'll come out on top, and we'll be able to fund next fiscal year for one more time, So it's at the point where we don't have a lot of long-term planning financially. At this point, we're trying to get through each year as it comes. And hopefully this new town manager, with her financial acumen, will make things a lot better in that department.
You know what else I seen in Dracut recently? At the boat there for the Salvation Army party. Warren Shaw spoke, and when he came off the stage, he came toward me, and I went to say hi to him. I was prepared this time, too, when I shook his hand. I made sure, you got to make sure, you're prepared to shake his hand. But pretty sure I said to him, congratulations, he got like a $500,000 grant off the state of Mass to help out his farm. So it's another good thing
Sure.
for Dracut. And
Yeah, I
he's
haven't-
not the only farm, but I'm pretty sure he got a $500,000.
I have not seen the progress because, the new farm building is in the back,
Yeah.
where the old one was up front. So have you been out there, Tom?
No, I haven't been by, yeah, but it's progressing, I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody, I think somebody made a joke at the Salvation Army breakfast that they built the stable quicker than they built this farm or something along that line.
No, but it's good to
So
see.
one of the first hires she's probably going to be doing is hopefully is a CFO, right? Chief Finance. That's still posted, I understand. Right?
Yeah, that, I think a lot of things depend on that. I mean, I think, in the past, we had Ann Vandal, who was at one point the town treasurer, and then...
Started as a town accountant.
Town accountant, and then...
Started out as a Board of Health Secretary
Right.
in Westford.
Right,
Imagine that.
and then PDEC, made her
Right.
the assistant, the chief
Chief,
finance
yeah,
officer,
yeah.
and then he made her the assistant town manager. So she basically was wearing three hats. And what happened, as you know, Tom, is the charter says that the Board of Selectmen will be the hiring authority for the town accountant.
Right.
So now we get to a point where the assistant town manager leaves and the town manager leaves, and we know that we have to replace the town manager, but what about the assistant town manager / chief financial officer / accountant? Well, we know that we have the authority to hire the accountant. So there's a little bit of disagreement.
And they can't be both.
Well,
I don't think they can be both.
I think that the town accountant.
You did have that. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. You
the
had,
town
what
accountant
was his name?
answers to the
The guy that
Board of
went
Selectmen.
to Sudbury. What was his name?
Victor.
Victor,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Tony, you tell me, in Dracut,
Yep.
you guys can hire and fire the accountant.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
The
they're
select-
supposed to be
And that's
independent
the way
of the town
it should
manager.
remain. Because I can tell my accountant, don't tell them. You got that?
What?
Don't tell them.
I don't know who you have for an accountant,
And,
but
no,
go
but
ahead.
you could, the accountant's working for me. He's not working for you. So, hey, John, Tony Archinski asked me a bunch of questions about caskets. Tell him nothing. Now, and that's what you run into when you let any town manager, I don't even know who your town manager is.
Right, yep.
But in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts, the city council decided to let the auditor come under the city manager. That's beyond silly. That was stupid. Because any manager, not picking on the current manager, although I like to, the manager could just tell him, don't tell them. Hey, I got city councilor so-and-so calling me asking about how many tires we bought for the lawnmowers. Tell them nothing. Because who does the accountant work for? The accountant, you guys have the luxury, he works for the selectmen.
Right, yeah. And that goes way back to the original charter.
And you just tell the accountant, I want no surprises. I want no surprises.
Right.
Give us a
I
prize.
remember one time when I was working for the town, and I don't know if it was Ann Vandal was the town accountant at the time, or if it was Jan McLean, but I went over them and I had a question about a Board of Health thing, and I said, well, the manager said this, well, the manager, I'm the accountant, I'm the one, as far as money, was
Yeah.
money.
Oh, yeah,
As far as spending money, that's what it was, it was for getting her to spend some money. And I said, okay, I just wanted to let you know that that's what he told me, but she said, well, I'm the accountant, so it's, that's why, it's checks and balances, right? That's
Yes,
what it all goes-
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why the accountant is separate from the town manager's office. So that puts us in a position now where we know we have to hire an accountant, and we're all set to do that, the job's posted and all that. So now, what do we do as far as the CFO? Now, way back in the day, the accountant, the auditor, the treasurer, they all answered to the town manager. Before there was a CFO, before
right.
PDEC made Ann Vandal the CFO. So my feeling is that if you have a town manager that has a great financial acumen, do we really need a CFO? That, coupled with the fact that we just elevated Allison Manoogian to assistant town manager, now we've used a little bit of that money. So I think when Victor left, if Ian had stayed, I think that Allison Manoogian would probably have accelerated to the assistant town manager's position to begin with.
Who's the town treasurer now? I don't even know who the town, you have to have a town treasurer.
Yeah, you had to ask.
Oh, you don't know? Yeah.
That's
Because
that's
you
when you
do.
get to be,
Yeah,
when
it's-
you
there's
get
so
to be
many-
my age. But anyway, so there are some selectmen that want to hire a CFO, and there are some, such as myself, that think that the right town manager can handle those duties. And again, with Allison Manoogian as the assistant town manager, with her planning background, she takes zoning and planning and all of that stuff off of the town manager's plate, and so that the town manager can actually concentrate on running the town and taking care of the finances. So that's a chapter that's yet to be written.
So it could go back to the days when we just had the town treasurer and the town accountant.
Sure.
And the manager would,
Yeah, and the auditor.
The internet says Carol
Oh, yeah.
Briggs.
The auditor is the accountant, right?
No, I think it's separate, Tom.
Oh,
Yeah.
The internet says.
Carol Briggs.
Carol
Yep.
Briggs is your
Yep.
town treasurer.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, there's still a lot of the chapter that's not written. I think it's all contingent on what the town manager brings to the table. And again, I think Kate Hodges, the person that we've chosen, is very well schooled in municipal finance, so we'll take our cues from her.
So I'm looking forward to the next year, though, election-wise in Lowell. I'm really,
Oh.
you know, we could sit here and talk about budgets all day long, and most
We have
of us.
Dracut's first in May, so we'll be ahead of you.
Yeah, well, you guys, I think it's a smaller place, but boy, you just have as much problem as Lowell does about keeping people around, or leaking stories about people.
Well,
Dracut's
I
the
think-
same as Lowell, just
I think there'll
smaller
be at least
version.
two candidates, right? If you had to talk, Tony, about.
Oh, you're talking about Dracut?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it depends on what I do as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, you hear the names out in the wind.
Only two names I hear is Martin and Plummer. Those
Yeah,
are,
well,
you have the
yeah,
names?
I think that's a gimme.
Yeah. And is I always forget her name, God forgive me, is she running for reelection? Kapansky, is she running?
As far as I know,
Yeah.
she is.
That's how I say your name,
Yeah.
Kapansky? Kapinsky?
You know, Tom,
Kopsinski.
yeah,
Kopsinski.
Tom, your buddy, the mayor of Lowell,
Yeah.
look at this, just how Lowell's standing with schools. We gave them almost a 12% raise. No strike going on in Lowell. I mean,
Yeah.
we hired someone within because of Danny Rourke,
he's done a great
Liam
job.
Skinner.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, and I've spent about 25 to 30 years interested in the Lowell school system. And I don't have a good feeling about the future with money. I think everybody, and I know Jay Lang has told me this before, and he's the one I kind of listen to when it comes to a buck, that we better start looking at where we're going to tighten the belt. We spent a lot of money in Lowell, especially in Lowell, in the past couple of years. We had almost, 70 extra million that came in here, and they spent quite a bit of it in the right spots. They went after their schools, and I was always a guy that listened to another guy named Bill Topia, God rest his soul, too. Your schools go, Bob, you're done. And this school committee, to me, not the mayor, but the school committee needs to wake up. You know, they've been
In
fighting.
what way, Bobby?
Well, I'll give you one big example. We were just talking about a CFO. Well, we have a person, his name is Jim Hall, a lawyer, that has saved this city millions of dollars chasing bad money that was out there, people collecting checks down in Florida, retired, that shouldn't even got a check coming to them. Ever since Dr. Helen Flanagan, going way back machine, John, once they cut her throat, and then it was anti-female, look at Mrs. Keeley. The cases that we've lost in Lowell over the years should be telling people to wake up and smell the coffee. We finally hired someone because of the mayor and Dominic Lay's big vote, Liam Skinner. I've never seen anybody run a school like the Daily School, like Liam Skinner. And I'm
So
glad,
getting back to waking up the city council.
wake them up, get rid of them. Come out and run.
What?
Listen, Jackie Doherty, to me, needs to go. I'm going to say it early here. She needs to go. I mean, she went after Dominic
might be
Lay.
gone.
Listen, they went after Dominic Lay so bad. I mean, he went to court 4 different times about where he lives. And then every word out of her mouth was HR this and HR that and HR this. It was just Jim Hall she's after. She was after Jim Hall.
I
Why?
gotta call Jackie, see if she
Why?
wants to come on
Why?
from
No,
Tuesday
she don't
with
want to
you.
come on because it's the truth. It's the truth. They were trying to get rid of the guy. Now, we need a new school committee. Believe me, we do. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I hope the people's names, I see them. Look at the list that we had for people that wanted to run against Corey Belanger. Look at that list. Incredible. I've never seen so many people, Tom. And I really think this year you're going to see some candidates. We had none. Nobody runs citywide school against 2 people that have been here forever in our school system. We sit here and talk about how Lowell is failing, but we don't change nothing.
Jackie Doherty's husband, Jay Mason, is an accountant. He was on the Salvation Army Board of Directors.
Good guy,
Nice
I like
guy.
him.
But no, I'm just going to say, what I'm hearing is that he left our board because they're moving to the beach. I don't know if that's true or not. They built a house on the
I've
beach.
heard that
I'm
rumor,
trying to
too.
get that.
Well, maybe she's not gonna run for re-election.
That's what I'm saying. Well, if they're moving to the beach pretty soon, she'll probably have to leave the school committee.
My
No, you can have a couple of residences, like I have a place down the beach and a place here.
Yeah, but where would your,
My residence is here,
oh, okay.
but I have a place in
Good
Hampton.
point. Good point.
You might even have 6 months to,
maybe
No, but I mean,
do your
even
thing.
if I do run for city council, okay? My official residence is lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. And I've got a place in Happy Hampton, and we're looking at a place in happy and wonderful Florida, but right now,
Wow, I smell retirement.
oh, yeah.
Bob, you and I were doing
Well,
a show.
you know, it's about time. Look how old he is.
well, Florida ain't gonna happen as long, my wife loves the grandson too much, there's no way we're leaving for Florida for any long period of time.
Right. Yeah, well, you could be a snowbird. What the heck?
Yeah, you probably have to follow schools like I do to understand why. I couldn't understand why they're going after Jim Hall. I mean, a person that does tremendous work for the city of Lowell for many, many years. Why? Because Dr. Kafawi hired him? We always trying to fire somebody. You know, Dr. Kafawi had some great things. I don't want to sit here and waste the whole show talking about schools, but I'm going to tell you something. We need people to come out for the school committee.
Well, Bobby, what do you think? What do you think? If Skinner's honeymoon's all over, what do you think his expectancy is? I mean, we've seen the last 4 or 5 superintendents.
I think he's going to have some longevity in Lowell. I do.
10 years?
Well, you know, when you hear
I
these,
doubt it. You know, I
Tom?
hate to say it, because I had nothing but good things about the guy.
well, when
You know?
you work as hard as he does, like a George Sapasaris was the hardest working human being.
Stephen Stone.
Oh,
What do you
oh,
have
yeah.
anything bad about him? He's always under the radar. He does a great job. I mean,
Yeah, sometimes I go by, he's there at 6 o'clock in the
same
morning.
here, same here.
the staff that I talk to, it's a small group, but to me, they're the best teachers Lowell has. Most of them are retired now, but I still communicate with them. They go in as a tutor, let's say, and they finally raised them to $40 an hour. Think of that, a tutor, a retired teacher with 30-something years' experience. They just went up to $40. Think of it. You can watch a pothole and get $75 an hour. It's just where people, when it comes to teachers, that occupation, come on, Tom, I mean, all of us can think
I think I
back.
take issue with that, but go ahead.
Well, like I just said to you, I don't mind paying that kind of money to have policemen out
Sure,
there because
yeah.
these roads are terrible. I stand on different roads all the time. Nesmith Street, they're only averaging 60 miles an hour on Nesmith, and if they hot top Andover Street, there'll be cars
Oh,
doing
boy.
80 on that street. Andover had that 25 mile an hour. How'd that work out for them? What's going on? Lowell's got the 25 mile an hour thing in here, but I don't really see it working. I don't think, and if we did do it,
I know Dunstable has it, because I remember going out there
Oh,
this
yeah,
one day.
Dunstable.
But
We
listen,
all
you
said
do
that.
not go 20, if you go 26 miles an hour, you're pulled over.
Right.
They're strict out
Now,
there.
that's a town that has one road and one cop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the road, that's the road you don't want to
I'm
go
just saying,
25 on.
you don't, right, exactly.
well, I just give the city council a lot of credit, I really do. If it wasn't for them, it's not the school committee. Believe me, the mayor has led the charge on keeping the schools together in the city council, especially Eric Gitcher. No one's done more for me than Eric Gitcher. The Riley schools, that's where my granddaughter is. A few years back, 2 years back, we had no heat, none. We got heat now. We had no water, no drinking water. We have it now. You know, that's my thing, because of one person.
Bobby,
Here you
I
go.
think this is what you wanted.
It's called the Bruce, Boomer Recreation Urban Center of Excellence. Brendan Arcasian operates the facility. He leads Boomer Baseball 14 teams, baseball and softball, the AAU team for the city of Lowell Youth. That's what I mean. Father and son, Bruce, and I believe Brendan is his son, they were incredible. For years I've been watching them. Every team they coach either wins the
Thanks for catching that
championship or they're real close. So good luck to you in that business. Good luck.
So when is the city council election?
Next November.
Primaries in September, and the
November.
elections in November.
Yeah, it comes so quick.
And starting January, we'll be looking to get new city council candidates, especially for the district we sit in.
Hint, hint.
Wayne Janest. I hope somebody signs up, because my wife's going to kill me if I run for city council. But I've had it with the guy. He's a nice guy to talk to, but he just comes from a different breed. So,
Yeah.
but the city council, they all need a challenge. Even Eric Gitchie will say, "Hey, competition is good." Colleen Gary, she'll say, having competition, it keeps you sharper. And if you have no competition, you feel like, nobody cares about this job. But when somebody else is going after it, I'll tell you, when that seat you're sitting on, it gets slippery, you start to say, ooh, I'm going to get better at this. So I think all the city councils need a challenger.
I can tell you, in all four of my races, I had 5 challenges. So,
Yeah, but when we were talking about...
You guys are working for free.
pretty much.
You guys get paid, what do you guys get paid out there?
A whole $2,000 a year.
In Lowell, 25 grand.
Is that the average in towns, but do you know? Or should that be upped? All seriousness. Do you know what Tewksbury gets? Do you know what
I don't
Tewksbury
know. I don't know. I can tell you that the $2,000 has been the same for probably
I'm just saying.
30 years.
And
So
if you try
John
to up it, you probably
Zimri,
get
John
shot, right?
Zimri,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
John Zimri put in my ear a long time ago. We're cheap and we're proud of it.
We're going to say it's the best bang for your buck, town of Dracut.
Well, I actually got up at last town meeting last year and actually groveled for it. Because, of course, there was somebody that made the motion to cut out the $2,000 for the selectmen and the school committee. And I basically...
John there last night?
The problem,
Yes,
Tony,
it
with
was.
the whole thing is, only rich guys can run. You can afford to do this for $2,000 a year. Josh Taylor, he can afford to do this. But if you guys paid reasonable money, you'd get commoners to say, you know what, I'm going to run for that job too. Because we all have a couple of cell phone bills we got to pay, we got cable TV, we got internet, we have all these expenses we didn't have in 1955. So I don't mind it when we boost the pay of any elected official. That's,
Well,
My take.
the $2,000, I mean, it's not like, it's not like a windfall. I mean, I do my selectman duties mostly on
well,
Saturday.
Taylor doesn't take his. Taylor's working for free.
Right, yeah, he has
Josh
he's
Taylor.
refused it, so.
I haven't been on the school committee for
Well,
a
Zimri
while,
does it too, didn't he?
and I was
Maybe
making
one or 2 years.
$209 a week clear after taxes.
How much?
209.
A week?
Yeah.
Tony gets that a month.
I don't even get that.
Well,
I can
it went
remember.
from 3,000 to 6 to 12,000.
You're talking
to
the
be on
80s. I
schools.
remember when the Board of Health members would get paid, or like when I'm on the Board of Health.
Yeah, yeah.
Team Deck took that away. And
Yeah.
I don't get, I think all like planning board, they should get something. They put their heart and soul in
Well,
these committees.
I mean,
the
let me
Board-
tell you what
Board of Appeals, I
You
mean.
know, I started to say, you know, a lot of times, you know, you take phone calls and you do this, that, and the other thing during the week, and I have always dedicated Saturday morning into doing my selectmen's duties. So what I'll do is I'll take the agenda for the following Tuesday night, and I'll look at what's on the agenda. If I have to go look at something, I drive around town. So, I mean, really, just gas, that,
Yeah.
you know, the $2,000 just about handles the gas
What do you
that I
think,
use
what do you
as a
think, what do you
selectman.
think the position is, value is? How much should we pay you?
I don't know, I mean, you know,
Pretend you're not a selectman. What do you think? $5,000?
yeah, probably
Yeah.
$5,000. You know, again, you know, just for the
Well-
expenses to do the job. You know, I don't think that you should be paid, you know, for any other reason other than the fact that, you know, you need to put gas in your car.
Now, when I
The
see,
other- the
when I
other
see
thing-
Zimri, I'm gonna say, Archinski said it should be 15 grand. That's what I'm gonna tell him.
Well, they
I'll
try
tell
to get, they
Zimri
try to
that
pay the
one.
folks school, they wouldn't go along with it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That was something, they should,
Not
every
to change the
board should get
subject, but we
something.
got like 4 minutes left, and
All right, Bobby.
what I wanted to hit, just quick to hear if anybody else had something to say. When Trump brought in RFK into his race, and RFK is only trying to tell us something like Mike Dillon was telling us. It's funny how someone says they want to save America, get in shape, get up off the couch, elevate your heart like a Mike Dillon did. Once you say something like that in this country, you're in trouble. They went after, the way Trump brought in RFK into his field, I was very happy about it. All right, the guy ain't perfect probably, but look at the way his own family treated him.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And right now, I can't wait to see the outcome of that. Because all the guy's really saying, in my eyes, and I'm only one person, is try to get in shape, try to eat better, do things better for yourself. That's what I'm hearing from him. They'll throw all the negative things about him, because he's probably said some bizarre things in his life, but so hasn't Trump. So isn't everybody. How about Biden? You don't think he's throwing anything out there? It's a terrible world right now,
Hey,
politically.
tomorrow's
Politically.
City Life, Linda Bound's gonna be the host.
Hey,
Mike
Mike
Dillon.
Dillon. Here he is.
Corey Belanger's coming tomorrow, and our favorite firefighter, Mike Dillon Jr., he's coming tomorrow. Back to you, Bobby. Time
Yeah,
to
so
start.
just thanks for coming on the show, Tony, and Bob Cox earlier. Thanks, Bob, for everything you do. The Lowell Police are going to be playing the Bruins on January 19th, so you might want to get your tickets, and good luck to Bruce Arcasian and his family. So the new business. And
Tony, anything on your mind we forgot to talk about?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Hopefully, next time I'm here, we'll have a lot more to talk about with our new town manager, and,
And the new stipend for the selectmen will be 50,000.
yeah, exactly, and we'll see if we can get Zimini to sponsor that article.
When I send that email out to you, maybe we can get her to come up that day and ring with you.
Yeah,
The new
sure.
manager.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we successfully get the contract, yeah.
I already got
Well,
my
remember the guy
first
from that
political
Andover?
card.
Remember the-
Did you get in
Yeah.
the mail? Did any of you guys get a
What?
card from Danny Rourke for this year, politics?
No.
Yeah, I already got one. I'll bring it in next, I'll throw it on Facebook.
Well, he's running, I mean, a
was it?
party?
Oh, it's just a
Christmas
thank
card?
you, a thank
Oh.
you for supporting them and all that stuff.
Well, I'm a Dracut guy,
Political-
so,
No,
but I
that's
should still
okay.
get one. I give him enough money. No, Danny's a great guy.
Well, he's got a
Full
year-
disclosure, he was so good to my wife when she worked down at the district court. He was just a good class act guy, you know, so.
Well, also, guys, someday we don't have a guest. We got to go to the Office of Political Finance and see where these characters spend their money and who's writing them
Oh, that's
checks.
entertaining. You should do
Oh,
that.
it's, Tony, you guys on the Office of...
No, I don't think we are. No, we report directly to the town.
But, no, it goes
Yeah.
to them too.
Does it go to them?
think-
I don't think you
check it
can,
out.
I don't think you can query it, though, from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, we should, we'll
You can
investigate.
go to the
I'll have to
town,
look
you
at
can
that,
go to
yeah.
the town of Dracut and pull up all of our campaign.
I know the
forms.
school committee's exempt,
Yeah.
but I didn't know
That
you
goes
guys
to
were
January
exempt too.
1st, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
All right, thank you, Tony.
So that's
Coming on.
it, kids.
Okay, guys, thanks for
next time.
having
I'm
me.
going to put the music on and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Go to the town of Dracut and pull up all of our candidates.
I know the school committee's exempt, but I didn't know
That
you
goes
guys
to
were exempt.
January 1st, right?